Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. My name's Jenny and this is Arnold the Praying Penguin, and we make videos every Saturday about prayer, about exploring the Bible and about living out your faith. And in this video we're going to be setting up our 2021 bullet journal. So we've been using bullet journals for the last 3 years for tracking everything from events to our to-do lists to our lists of favourite things, and today we're going to be setting up already for 2021. I know I'm a bit late to the party, as by the time you're watching this it will be a couple of weeks into 2021, but I just happened to set up quite late this year and had to leave time for editing and all of that fun snazzy stuff. So everything that I use in this video will be linked down in the description below if you want to check it out, but some of the main things that I use is, firstly, every year I use a Dingbats notebook. These are the dotted A5 notebooks. So last year I had the blue whale and this year I have the purple hippo. In the past I've had the elephant and the tiger, I believe. Then some of the main pens I use are the Muji gel pens in 0.5. So I have the black one, which I use for most of my kind of day-to-day list making, but I also have lots of other colours. And then I have these WH Smith brush pens. So at one end they have the nice brush pen tip, and at the other end they have a fine line tip. And then the last set of pens that I mainly use are the Crayola Super Tips. So I have loads of different colours of these, and they're just so handy for pretty much anything you want to do. Very colourful. So if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a big thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to see more videos from me and Arnold. And let us know down in the comments if you use a bullet journal and what spreads you include. So let's get into the video. Okay, let's get started. So my bullet journals, I don't tend to bother with title pages because although I love looking at them and I think they look beautiful, they never turn out the way that I want them to. I'm just not as talented as my imagination wants me to be. So I figure we'll just skip over that and jump straight into the actual spreads. So my first spread is my 2021 in colour spread, where I colour in a box each day to show my mood. I've done this spread for the last few years, but gave up in like mid-April in 2020 because honestly, I had no idea what my mood was and I was very confused and couldn't pick a colour any day. But I kind of wish I'd carried on because I think that would have looked really interesting and been really interesting to look back on this year. But anyway, I've drawn out my grid for the year and chosen 6 different emotions to pick from. So this year I've gone for joyful, happy, calm, anxious, sad, or angry. So I'll pick one of those each day and colour in the right box. Also, yes, I messed up the months of the year. I completely forgot about the month of May, which has happened a couple of times recently, which seems problematic. And I just didn't know how to fix it, so I've just left it with 2 Augusts. It's fine, I'll just get confused when we get to May. And I have just realised that I wrote 2020 as the title rather than 2021. And I literally hadn't noticed that until I came to record this voiceover, so that's embarrassing. What a great start to this setup. Next up, we have my planning for 2021 spread. This was a very depressing spread last year because all of the events and holidays I added to the spread just got cancelled. So hopefully this year it will be a bit more useful. And even if not, it's a good way to remind myself of everyone's birthdays. So for this spread, I've just written out the calendar for each month of the year and left space underneath to write in all of the events. I like to include the whole year on a double page so that I can see a whole overview in one go. And I only really include key events and holidays, so I don't need like a ton of space. So this next spread is one I'm super excited about. Every year I'm looking for new ways to include my goals in my bullet journal in a way that is actually useful for me. I made a whole video at the end of December talking about my goals for 2021, what they are, how I chose them, and some tips for achieving them. One of which was to write them down, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. If you haven't watched that video yet, I definitely recommend you go and check that out, but I have included all of those goals we talked about on the left-hand page, so each yellow box represents one goal. When I have achieved the goal, I will colour in the little circle at the bottom. But inside each box, I'm also breaking down each goal into smaller steps to see how I'm progressing on each goal. For example, in my goal to write 4 sermons, I have 4 circles, so each time I write a sermon I will colour in the mini circle and also write in what the sermon is about. And in my goal to send monthly email newsletters, I have a space to colour in the circle for each month. I haven't broken down every single goal yet because I'm still working that out for some of them and haven't quite decided how I want to break them down. On the right hand page, I have also added a few more goals. The top 3 are my reading goals, which I will be talking about in a separate video next week, all about my reading plans for 2021. But here we just have my goal for the number of books I want to read, where I can colour in a number every 5 books, as well as my goals for reading an author from every continent and reading a book set in every continent. Then at the bottom left I have 2 running goals, because I would quite like to start running again and I need some motivation desperately. Then on the bottom right, these 3 boxes are probably more trackers than goals, because I don't really have numbers I'm aiming for, but these are to track my number of email subscribers, my Instagram followers and my followers on Pinterest, so I can see how these platforms are growing. If you'd like to follow me on any of my social medias or subscribe to my email list, you can find links in the description below, and that will help me to colour in some more circles. But yes, I'm really excited to use this spread, and hopefully this will be really helpful for keeping me on track with these goals. And yes, I messed the year up again. I did realise this time and just had to correct it. It's irritating, but hey ho. On the next spread, we have my 21 in 2021 challenge. Again, I have a whole video up on my channel explaining all of these challenges, so I won't go into too much detail here. But for this spread, I have just drawn out 21 little clouds and written a challenge onto each cloud. These challenges are all quite simple, so I don't need to break them down like I have with my other goals. I'll just do some kind of tick or mark when I've completed the challenge. Do make sure you check out that video all about this challenge if you'd like to join in with us. Next up, we have my prayer spreads. I did these for the first time last year and really liked having it in my bullet journal. The left-hand page is a space for me to keep all of my prayer requests, so either things that I'm praying about or things that other people have asked for prayer about maybe. I've split this up into 4 categories. So we have family, friends, community and world. Then on the right hand page, last year I used this as an answers to prayer page, but this generally ended up just being a repeat of the things that I was praying about, then being answered in different ways, which is obviously amazing and praise God for answering those prayers. But this year I wanted to change it up and make this second page a list of prayers of thanksgiving, which will include answers to prayers, but also other things that I'm thankful for. And this is a great reminder to write down those things that I am thankful for and to thank God for them. Okay, the next chunk of spreads are my reading spreads. I've never really tracked anything to do with my reading in my bullet journal before, mostly because I haven't been reading a whole lot. But this year I wanted to start including some of these spreads. So these first 3 pages are for me to simply list the books that I've read. I have a whole spreadsheet to track more details about the books that I read, but here I'm just going to keep it simple and include the book and the rating that I give to each book. Next we have my unread shelf bingo board. The Unread Shelf Challenge is a challenge to help you read the books that you already own, rather than buying new ones. I will include links below for you to find out more about the challenge and how you can get involved yourself. But this bingo board includes the 24 prompts for the year, so I've written them all on with space to add in each book, so I can see how I'm doing. The next spread is possibly my favourite spread of this whole setup. This is my own reading challenge spread. A reading challenge that me and Arnold have put together to help us read a bigger variety of books this year. Again, I'll include links in the description if you'd like to join us for this reading challenge. Apparently, we just really love challenges, especially those that involve 21 different challenges. So for this spread, I've drawn out a picture of Arnold, although Arnold's beak is not that orange at all, it's more yellow. But hey, it's a penguin. And again, I have drawn 21 boxes and written out the different reading challenges with space to write in the book for each challenge and colour in the little circle when I have completed the book. On the next page, we have our Around the World graph. This is linked back to the reading goals I mentioned earlier, about reading an author from every continent and a book set in every continent. This is a space for me to track which continent each author is from and where each book is set. I'll just be adding a dot in the right column for each book that I read, so I can see how balanced this is, or maybe what kind of books I should be looking for next. On the next page, I'm including a NetGalley tracker. NetGalley is a platform where you can request to read advanced copies of books before they're published in return for honest reviews. So on this tracker, I wanted to keep track of which books I've been approved to read, when they're going to be published, and whether I have read and reviewed them, so I can tick them off and remind myself to read all of the books that I've been lucky enough to be approved for. This next spread is my TBR spread, the books I want to read this year. I have a much longer list than this on my Goodreads and the story graph, but this is a space for my priority books that I really want to read this year, and tick them off as I go. So for this spread, I've just done a slightly different outline to make it a bit more interesting, to look like a piece of paper taped up and pinned up. Then I've added 2 columns of circles where I can tick off the books when I've read them. Next we have my wish list. This spread is exactly what it says on the tin, a space for me to keep a list of the things that I want or need throughout the year, either to add to my Christmas list at the end of the year, or to buy for myself at some point, or to keep an eye out for good deals. This year I've split the list into 2, one for books and one for everything else, because I figure books will probably be my biggest category this year. Over the page we have my gift ideas page, a space for me to list all the ideas I have for gifts for other people, so I don't have a complete mind blank when it comes to someone's birthday and I need to think of an idea. So anytime I see something I think would make a great gift, I'll add it to the list and keep a record. The next spread is my gift card tracker. I am awful at remembering what gift cards we have, when they need to be used by, so I included this spread partway through last year and it has been really helpful. It's a very simple spread with columns for the gift card, the amount on the card, the shops that the card can be spent at, and the date that they need to be spent by, so I can just check back here and see what gift cards we still need to spend. This next spread is my best of 2021 spread, a place for me to keep a list of my favourite things from 2021, so that I remember what I've enjoyed and I can look back at this list. So for this spread I'm creating 4 boxes for 4 categories. We've got films and TV, music, YouTube and social media, and then other. Then every time I find something that I really enjoy during this year, I will add it to this spread. And my final spread of this setup is me living in hope that parkruns will start up again at some point in 2021, so that I can use this tracker. It's a simple tracker for me to list the date, the location of the parkrun, the time I did, and any notes about the parkrun. I really liked having this spread at the beginning of last year until COVID stopped us in our tracks, so I thought I would bring it back again this year. So that is my whole setup for my 2021 bullet journal, and here is the final flip through of all the spreads. I don't tend to share my monthly setups on YouTube because honestly they're all exactly the same and quite boring. But if you'd like to see more of my spreads or see these as I'm using them throughout the year, definitely come and find me on Instagram, as that's probably where I'm most likely to share them. But if you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a massive thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos from me and Arnold in the future. Let me know down in the comments if you are using a bullet journal in 2021 and what spreads you've included in yours. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and we will see you again next week for a new video. Bye!